Well, the Wu-Tang series on Hulu, which you're actually portrayed in. Number one, what do you think? Okay, number one, what do you think about the overall series? We're now 2 seasons into it.
I love it.
You love it. I like it. I like it.
I wish the guy who plays me, I love as a person.
Oh, you know him personally?
He came, he wanted, he picked my brain on, some stories, this, that, so on, so on. I just wish he showed a little bit more. I mean, but it's not his fault. I guess it was the director, a little bit more energy or a little bit more passion.
Yeah. He has the long flowing hair. Like we're going to show a picture of you back in the day. Because I'm like, wait a minute, that's not Steve. And then I'm looking over this picture going, okay, never mind. That's Steve. Because I always knew you with short hair. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean, it's a dope series. Like I feel like, in terms of my personal opinion, Raekwon's character kills it, just nails it. ODB's character nails it. RZA, not so much. And me and Ray even talked about this in our last interview, how like the RZA accent that the actor does
So I think he kills it, but I think he tries too hard.
That's what I'm saying.
I think he tries too hard. I thought they nailed them all, like each one. Dave East with meth. I mean,
yeah, I can see. I guess since I already knew Dave East, before that's a little bit.
Joey Badass with Deck. I mean,
that was cool. Ghostface, not so much, because I feel like the Ghostface actor is just so much smaller physically than the real Ghostface. Ghostface is a real imposing kind of big figure. You know what I'm saying? So I felt like I'm just not really getting the Ghostface vibe since I've interviewed him before and everything. But, listen, they did their best.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I didn't miss a show.
You didn't miss a show. Okay. There's actually a story, me and Raekwon talked about this in our last interview, is that Leonardo DiCaprio wanted to do the Wu-Tang movie. You know about this?
I don't know if it was true or not. I heard about it.
No, I mean, according to Raekwon, there was actual meetings and everything else like that. Like they actually met with Leonardo and everything else like that. But then when RZA came in, he wanted to do the Hulu series instead.
Next thing you know, we met up in Beverly Hills. We met up with Leo's team, his production team. RZA was at the meeting, so RZA really took the meeting on the strength of myself, but also he took the meeting to see if it really was what I'm talking about. So next thing you know, we sitting there, blah, blah, blah. They saying, yo, we interested. This is what we want to do. Cause you know me, I'm throwing out there, yo, we're gonna want to have an all-star cast of people involved with it. I'm thinking like, yo, would it be younger guys that'll want to play us? And then eventually, we would all get in it somehow when it was needed. But the key thing was RZA already had an agreement with the people he was already doing something with. So he was staying loyal to his friends.
I guess there was more money in it. But, me and Ray kind of both felt that a movie would have made a bigger impact, kind of like the NWA movie did. I mean, what do you think about that?
There was, besides the movie, I mean, there was a few movie studios. Paramount wanted to do something with them. I don't know. I mean, if it was making the movie, we would probably just start shooting the movie now. I mean, it takes 2 years in pre-production to get the script right, to get everything like that. And
right.
So I don't know. I think they could still do a movie.
Well, I mean, after the series, so much of the story's been told through the series, I guess.
Different.
Be a little different.
Yeah.
I feel you. I mean, I like the series. Like I said, I've watched every episode. I'm really into it. Ray just wrote a book.
Okay.
We did a whole interview around the book. I got to read the whole thing. And, when you guys first signed Wu-Tang, and some of this was really kind of covered in both the book and the series, your offer was essentially the lowest out of all the major labels, but you allowed them to have solo deals.
100%.
Yeah. Why was that so unheard of at that time?
What, the solo deal?
Yeah, the solo deal.
Because the record companies are so fucking greedy. Like they wanted everything. And it was like, I managed New Edition, not for a long time, but for like a year and a half. And the group is really still bigger than the solo artist, right? Maybe besides Michael leaving the Jacksons, right? But if Michael did a record with the Jacksons, who knew what it could be, right? Mick Jagger's solo records were never as big as a Rolling Stones record,
Right.
right? So I was like, long as we have First Right, we'll be good. And if we have the group, and that's how I looked at it.
Yeah.
And I remember Rich Isaacson and myself, we had to scream, rant and rave and say, like, this is unheard of. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Like, this has to get done.
Yeah.
This is a life-changing moment for me.
I mean, you guys had first rights of refusal for all the solo deals, though, right?
Yes.
But the only artist you got was Raekwon.
Yeah, but that was just me and RZA having a conversation.
Okay. But you tried for the other artists as well, obviously.
No, I didn't have the money. No, because
okay.
when Def Jam offered Meth $175,000, they just went gold. I didn't have the budget to pay for Method Man.
Mm-hmm.
And then Geffen offered Jizza like $350 or $400, something. I was like, there's no fucking way. And then finally, when we went platinum, I had a conversation with RZA. I said, we should really just go in together and renegotiate the deal. Your deal, and I'm going to renegotiate my deal.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up having not a fist fight, but I threw a chair through a glass door.
Yeah,
and
I heard about this.
And the cops came and they arrested me and everything else like that. And it bit BMG in the ass because of what they, like, we could have got it, we were $20,000 apart when I blew this fit. And BMG was holding steady. And then RZA saw what I did. He was like, we're putting everything on hold. And RZA told me that night, he goes, don't worry, Ray's still going to be with you. Let us just, not play chicken, but let's just, scam. Method Man was coming at the following week. Method Man scanned 120,000 the first week. And those days, those numbers were ridiculous. I went up again. It was a Monday before the Thanksgiving, and I was catching a plane that night to Florida, and I blew another fucking fit. And sometime in February, we got the deal done.
Okay. Well, Raekwon did sign with Loud Records.
Yes.
And according to the book, it was a $500,000 deal. Yeah.
Yep.
And one of the dopest things that I learned from reading the book was that Raekwon decided after signing this deal that he's going to give Ghostface half. Who does that? Who signs a solo deal and then gives his man half?
That whole crew, they all just helped each other. It was brotherly love.
Yeah. I mean, when Ray brought up the idea, okay, because you signed a deal with Ray. Were you trying to sign with Ghostface also?
No, me and RZA already had the plan. He was signing Ghost to Razor Sharp. I was always going to get Ray and Deck.
Got it. Okay. So you sign Ray, and then Ray tells you, hey, I want this album featuring Ghostface Killer.
Fine.
You were like, but that's never been done before. Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It's like,
it's whatever.
I think we sent them to Barbados.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then they went to Miami. Yeah, because they got into like some situations with the hotel. And they went to Miami afterwards. What's interesting also is that originally Raekwon wanted to call the album, instead of Only Built for Cuban Links, he wanted to call it
Wu-Gambinos.
But then a phone call came in from the actual Gambinos. Tell me about this.
My father called me. Somebody called him and said that they heard that, and they didn't want the name, to keep that name out.
Yeah. The Gambino Mafia, one of the 5 founders.
So that was, I don't know, like, I stayed out of that, and I told Ray, well, I guess Ray says it in the book.
Yeah, Ray says in the book, yeah. Yeah, basically you said, like, we can't use this name. And he's like, we cannot use this name. What would have been the repercussions if you had used the name?
I wasn't taking a chance. for my father, whoever called my dad, my dad calls, he goes, I need to talk to you and Rich. I'm like, all right, hold on, let me get him on the phone. He goes, no, I need you to come to the house ASAP. So me and Rich grew up in the same town. We grew up right around the corner from each other. Long Island, Merrick, Long Island. And I'm like, what the fuck's the matter? He goes, I'll tell you when I see you.
He can't even talk on the phone.
He didn't want to talk on the phone. So we were actually on our way to the Hamptons anyway. I said, my son Alex was maybe 6 weeks old, 7 weeks old. And no, actually, Alex wasn't even born yet. That was a different time. And he explained that he got a call from somebody and that they would appreciate if they don't call the album Wu-Gambinos. I said, all right. I mean, it was an easy conversation. It wasn't like, I got to give the artist full creative control. And I think Ray got it and understood it. Otherwise, because if he didn't get it, we would have had an argument over.
Yeah. Well, because there was a song on there called Wu-Gambinos.
Yeah, which was...
So it was okay if there's a song, but not the whole album.
Yeah.
Yeah, Steve Pops, he was connected. He had a lot of relationships. So I remember me enforcing the title on Steve and saying, yo, this is what we want to call it. We want to call it Wu-Gambinos. And he like, yo, I'm going to look into that. And I remember him coming back to me and saying, yo, it's not happening. I'm like, what you talking about? What do you mean it can't happen? Gambino men, what? He was like, it's not going to happen.
Right, because your dad was best friends with Sonny Francis.
Yeah. I mean, Sonny...
And Michael's been a regular on my show, a few times, so we know that whole story.
Yeah, Sonny's was like an uncle to me.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, he was a serious guy. He was a very serious guy. Okay. So here you are, Wu-Tang Clan blows up. The first album goes platinum, eventually.
36 Chambers?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a little under 2.
Yeah. Right around 2 million. Mm-hmm. Ray's album blows up.
Platinum.
Purple Tape.
Platinum.
And then, Method Man, I think goes platinum.
Everybody goes platinum.
Everyone is going
platinum.
crazy. Right? And so Inspectah Deck was signed to you.
Yeah.
But then I remember I interviewed him about this, and this was actually in the series as well. The flood happened in RZA's apartment, and his whole album got lost.
Exactly. So the theory was I wanted to do it. This wasn't me, Maddie C, who was my head of A&R, and Scott Free, who was our co-head of and said, let's get Deck, right? He's on Cream, and he starts off with Protect Your Neck. And we create a little mini supergroup within Wu-Tang with Ray, Ghost, and Deck.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
So it never happened, right? And then this was what Maddie and Free wanted to do. And then and I thought the idea was absolutely brilliant. Then the flood happened. And the rest is history.
Inspectah Deck was sort of to me, it was always interesting because, like you said, he started off Protect Your Neck. I mean, he started off Triumph. Yeah. That's not on accident, right?
No, he's to this day, I'm going to apologize to him. He got caught in between us leaving BMG and going to Sony. And if I just had the patience or explained to him better, that album really was an amazing album. But unfortunately, it took forever to get done because they had to start from scratch. But you're talking about one of probably the best leadoff hitter ever in this,
This is what I'm saying, who never really got the props and the sales and the love that, that Meth got or Ray got or even Jizza. You know what I'm saying? Like he never, or ODB got. He never had that big single. Really, he's never had a big single.
No, he didn't have a big single, but he was if you needed to get on base,
yeah,
You're calling Deck.
You call him Deck, yeah. This is what I'm saying. I mean, I'm saying this positively. Like,
Yeah,
yo,
no,
like,
me too. And like I said, I've apologized to him, and I'm apologizing in front of everybody that watches Vlad TV.
yeah.
It's like he got caught in that web with us leaving BMG
Yeah.
and then going to Sony, and then him having to make an album from scratch.
Yeah. Well, the first album does well, and then all the solo albums, like I said, do well. So now it's time for the second album. But, according to Ray's book, by that time, the Wu really weren't gelling like they were.
Wu-Tang Forever album?
Yeah. The album did great, but the making of it, a lot of the guys weren't on the same page. To the point where Ray was even saying, like, dudes was saying that, other verses were trash, like, to the guy's face. And you know what I mean? Like, people, like, they said that when the album was done, half the people thought half of it was great and the other part was trash. You know what I'm saying? Like it was like they weren't really like gelled up the way they were before. I mean, is that a fair assessment from your point of view?
You know me for a long time, Vlad. You never really see me in the studio.
Yeah. You don't hang out in the studio. Like
right? So I wasn't there for the creative process, right? And this is just me speaking freely. There were a lot of songs, and I don't think they really knew in depth how much it takes for a double album.
Yeah.
So you're talking about, I don't remember, 24 to 26 songs?
Yeah.
Plus snippets and everything else like that. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, Old Dirty Bastard ain't even really on the album like that.
Old Dirty was away.
Oh, he got locked up. Aha. Okay. Well, I mean, regardless of what the members thought of the album, when it came out,
I mean, it broke every record.
Went crazy.
Yeah. We debuted number one in every country around the world.
Every country. And then Triumph went number one.
Yeah. I mean, it was $1 million video. I remember me and Ray and Power having dinner at City Crab on 18th and Park. And he says, we want $1 million for the video. And I said, who do you want to direct it? He goes, I don't know. He goes, you have any ideas? I said, Brett Ratner.
Right. Who did Rush Hour?
Yeah. And Money Talks.
Yeah. Right. And a lot of other shit.
Yeah. So we hired Brett. It was Ray's concept pretty much. And it was $1 million. I think it was like the first $1 million hip hop video.
That was the first, $1 million video. Yeah. And, honestly, and you talk about, like, for example, like I talked to artists from the UK, like they all say that was the album that introduced like the UK to hip hop. UK was fucking with rappers, whatever. But when Triumph, came out and when Wu-Tang Forever came out, that's when everyone was on it. And it just became a worldwide phenomenon.
Yeah, no, I remember me and one of my right hand, a guy by the name of Mojo Nicosia, where him and my brother were running promotion for Loud. And our office was on Melrose and King. You know what Cookies is? On Melrose there? We owned that building. And that's where Loud was. And we went to go grab a sandwich. And we saw this kid on a skateboard with hair down to his ass, with a scully on, singing Wu-Tang Clan Ain't Nothing to Fuck With. And then, we just knew. But I remember the night before Wu-Tang Forever came out, we were doing a bunch of press. And it was coming out at midnight, and we were doing Virgin Megastore on 45th and Broadway, was doing this huge promotion. And I remember we ordered in Chinese food into my office. I go, our lives are going to change tomorrow.